your campus and community news on Duo County Channel 2 Video on Demand. I'm Renee Hurd.
And I'm Seth Taylor. Thank you for joining us for this month's edition of RAIDERCAST. We'll begin with our most recent news stories.
Lindsey Wilson recently added a new online program to its curriculum. This is an important venture into a new territory for the college, RAIDERCAST reports.
People visiting Lindsey Wilson College's website may have noticed a new picture in the homepage banner's rotation and a new announcement below it. These announce the arrival of Lindsey Wilson College's first organized online program, which allows people to earn degrees in certain areas of interest without ever entering a classroom. Dennis Robinson was hired in October to launch and manage this program. He tells us more.
Those students are our primary audience, the adult learners, those who work full-time, who have families, who don't really have the time to come to a scheduled class during the day. Currently online, we have 2 master's degrees that are offered and 3 bachelor's degrees. The current master's degrees that are offered online are interactive design. The other master's is teacher as a leader. The bachelor's degrees are business administration, criminal justice, and RN to BSN, which is a nursing degree.
There are also plans to add more degrees to this list.
We just recently got approved, in fact within the last couple of days, for a bachelor's degree in user experience design. There are a couple more in the works that I really can't talk about until they're approved, but yeah, we'll continually add programs that we think will be popular online or that we know that the students will need online.
The online program was just launched a few months ago, so its success has yet to be determined. Robinson hopes, however, to have 100 to 125 students in the
The online program is a big addition for Lindsey Wilson College. Here's to hoping it takes off well.
Stay tuned and we'll return with more local community news.
You know, they would talk about the city on a hill, the beacon on a hill, and that's kind of how I felt Lindsey was. It's, you know, this very metropolitan college, really, when you look at the student body and how diverse it is, in the middle of this rural community.
But it's certainly that school that is in the midst of that transformation to something way beyond what any of us could ever hope for or imagine a small college to become.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Renee Hurd with Seth Taylor. We now bring you more campus and community news that you're looking for.
The end of Lindsey Wilson's school year brings not only new programs, but new elected officials to the Student Government Association office. RAIDERCAST got to speak with Jake Saylor, the new president, to see what he had to say about his election.
When Jake Saylor was announced as the new SGA president at the spring formal dance, there was a lot of celebration. But according to Saylor, deciding to run wasn't an easy choice.
I've had a few people tell me that I should do it, but I never really wanted the responsibility. And then there was just one weekend where I was at this conference, and the speaker basically said, to the reasons that I didn't want to do it, he basically said they weren't good ones. So once I saw it coming, I knew there was no stopping it.
Saylor said he felt several emotions when he found out that he had won, including a sense of relief.
Relief, because I think that spring formal night, it felt like it took forever to get to that announcement. And by that point, I thought the nervousness I was going to succumb to it at some point. And to just hear that I'd won, I was relieving. I was excited too, happy, things like that, but
Saylor, who already has experience working in SGA, said that he has learned a lot from his experience.
I've learned how to be practical about things.
Mm-hmm.
You have these lofty goals sometimes, and you think everything sounds good ideally, and then you have to really think things through. And most things you want to do are possible, but a lot of it comes down to what is most practical.
He said that he would like to retain many of the things SGA does, and also bring more awareness.
My main goal for this next year is going to be to maintain things that SGA has done very well over the past years. I'd like to add stuff to it, but until we get there, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be able to do. I've got some ideas, but I can't really say what's going to happen yet based on the logistics and how possible things are. But I think my main goal for next year is a lot of good things are being done in SGA right now, and I feel like the best thing I can do is get more people to know about it.
Saylor said that overall, he wants to serve the student body at LWC to the best of his ability.
To do this position, you have to want the best for the people around you before the best for yourself.
We wish Jake the best going forward in his future position.
As the year winds down to a close, Lindsay Wilson says goodbye to a dear faculty member, Susie McAlpin, who will be missed by all who knew her. RAIDERCAST sat down to look over Miss Susie's time on campus.
When international students come to Lindsay Wilson, they rely on not just their university, but our own to help them. For Lindsay Wilson, the woman behind this is Susie McAlpin. With the announcement of her retirement, we looked to students and faculty to see what Miss Susie meant to the campus.
The other thing that she's been so phenomenal at is culturalizing our campus so that there's not Lindsay Wilson College American students and international students. We just have Lindsay Wilson College students.
When I saw her at first, she seemed so nice, and she was.
She works too hard.
She helped me and she talked to me even though she was so busy.
This year's been pretty easy for me. That's probably been because of Miss Susie. Miss Susie took care of all my paperwork for me.
She helped me to see American planes.
Alice Woods had this to say about Miss Susie's commitment to her students.
Job done. She's really dedicated, and she finds it really important to get a good job done, not just get the job done.
But how do Miss Susie's students feel about her?
Last night at the leadership banquet, the L3 leadership banquet, Musa Mwanda, international student, he took time at the end of his entire speech, his acceptance speech, to recognize Miss Susie. And he asked Miss Susie to stand and be recognized, and he said, without Susie, I'm nothing. That's what's going to be missed. It's going to be missed that Susie running 100 miles an hour through campus, Susie running to the airport, Susie running to the Walmart, Susie cooking sushi on international, student night.
The student is, my children, and so I remember their faces and their names. So I have, more than 600 students. That's my children all over the world.
She's always kind to everyone, and she's like a mother. Everyone likes her.
She cares about every student, every international student.
So she cares so much about every single person as they come in the door.
She really does care about all of the students.
Suji, omedetou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimashita.
Miss Susie is not a person that will be forgotten around this campus, and Lindsay will always be there to welcome her home.
Right after this break, we'll return with all your LWC sports news.
They would talk about the city on a hill, the beacon on a hill, and that's kind of how I felt Lindsay was. It's, this very metropolitan college, really, when you look at the student body and how diverse it is, in the middle of this rural community.
But it's certainly that school that is in the midst of that transformation to something way beyond what any of us could ever hope for or imagine a small college to become.
Welcome back to the Blue Raiders Sports segment. I'm Renee Hurd with Seth Taylor.
It's one thing to call yourself a champion, but it's another thing to call yourself a national champion, and the Lindsay Wilson College's women's soccer team was able to achieve just that. RAIDERCAST reporters tell us more.
When it comes to adversity, the Lindsay Wilson College's women's soccer team is no stranger. From struggling to finding the back of the net, to tying teams they usually beat. Either way, the girls found a way to get the job done.
I think the difference from last year to this year was that we had a bigger group of good players, so when we had to sub, we were not losing a player, but we actually added one more, and that was why we could win this year, because if we had injuries that we usually have in a season, we didn't lose a player because we had someone that was actually doing as well as that player that was injured.
I guess our turning point was after we played Cumberland University, when we won 6-1. And after that, we won every single game, and we started playing well together, and every person took their responsibilities. And in nationals, everything has fallen to place. After the first half, that we kind of had it, and then after the second and third goal, I felt like we won because the other team gave up. So it wasn't that hard. Actually, the feeling in your legs, the soreness went away a little bit.
The Raiders won its 4th national title this past fall. The team consists of some of the best players from around the world, 17 internationally and 4 Americans. With not only dealing with differences off the field, the girls made it work on the field as well.
I think it's important to have a lot of good players and not only a start 11 that can play, and that's why you have to have a good team with maybe like 15 or 18 good players and not only 11.
With any situation, obstacles are bound to happen. Take these girls as an example. When your goals are high, anything is possible. With RAIDERCAST, I'm Renee Hurd. Can the Lady Raiders do it again? Be sure to check them out in action this fall as they strive for 5. RAIDERCAST reporters got the chance to touch down with the Blue Raider football team to discuss their spring training and hopes for the next fall season.
Football fans, are you ready? Lindsey Wilson's football team has just finished spring ball and they're on a mission with one goal, the national championship.
Yeah, we're certainly aiming for what we accomplished last year and then some. We want to win the conference first and foremost. We want to make the playoffs and we want to win the national championship. What I do know is we have the ability to be that good and then some. We have the ability to win a championship, but doing it and knowing it are two different things, and we can do it. We have a big challenge in front of us.
I'll go out as a champion from my last year, and I'll be in the books the history books for Lindsey Wilson football.
But wanting something means nothing without working to achieve it, and the Blue Raiders have been doing just that this spring and into the summer for camp.
And we go right into an off-season heavy lifting. 4 days a week we're lifting weights. We go into a morning conditioning period. Our guys are up a couple or a few days a week at 6 a.m. and we're in the wellness center and we're conditioning, and those guys are working really hard. And then we go to spring break, and as soon as we come back from spring break, we go into our spring practice on the field.
Camp's it's tough, but it's just 2 days. You have to wake up in the morning, you have a meeting, and we go to practice. You get out of practice, you have another meeting, watch film, install, and then we have another practice. And then after that, it's bed check, go to sleep, repeat.
It's safe to say that for the Blue Raiders, it's all football, all day. But it's the relationships and the mindset that they hold that is truly what sets Lindsey Wilson apart.
Well, I think we've really adopted a philosophy of focusing on the process day to day with how we go about reaching our goals.
I've seen growth and maturity, and a lot of people have stepped up and become leaders. I've met a lot of friends here, and it's a brotherhood, and I know that I've met a lot of good people here.
It's clear that the Blue Raiders have been hard at work. We at RAIDERCAST have high hopes for their best season and wish them great success. For more information on all Lindsey Wilson sports news, visit the Blue Raider Sports homepage at www.lindseyathletics.com. That will conclude this edition of RAIDERCAST.
We'll see you here on Dual County Channel 2, video on demand, and online at youtube.com/LWC RAIDERCAST. We'll be here covering your campus and community news. Thanks for joining us. This has been Renee Hurd with Seth Taylor. Have a great day.